welcome you to another edition of Women Lead TV. Today with me is Karen Zullo, and she is the founder of Insight Credit Group. And this is a big topic today because we're going to be talking about alternative funding. She specializes in alternative funding where businesses, many times, there's just things going on that they're growing their business and they get turned down by traditional banking sources. And we're going to talk about the fact that she also helps businesses and individuals with credit repair. And we all know how important a good credit record is to our business, to us personally, but we'll talk about some of those trends. So welcome and say hello to everybody, Karen.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I appreciate you having me on today.
I'm excited to have you because this is a hot topic, I think. I know we all know as individuals and especially as business owners that credit records are really important to whether we can get funding or financing, right?
Absolutely. It's important to a lot of things, whether we can get a home, whether we can rent an apartment, get a car, I mean, you name it, credit is needed for a lot of things today.
Do you see that a lot of businesses just really don't know what their credit score is? They don't really know how it impacts them. Talk about what you see with the businesses you work with most, that they just don't realize how much it impacts them.
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting, and that's a great question, because believe it or not, most small businesses don't even have their own true credit profile. Right. So business owners, especially when they start up, they're using their own personal credit to get started, and they don't think down the road that they really need to establish their own true business profiles, completely separate from their own social security numbers, you know. And one of the things that I see sadly in the credit repair piece is that the business unfortunately crashes and burns and their personal credit's tied to it. So not only does the business crash and burn, but their personal credit does as well. So
when you say get business credit, are you talking about Dun & Bradstreet to get your number with Dun & Bradstreet? Explain how that works.
Absolutely.
D&B they call it,
right?
D&B,
the D&B number.
Former lender here, girl. I dealt with it all the time.
You know, just like we personally have our own personal credit profiles with TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, businesses should have their own personal profiles with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian Business, and Equifax Business. So we can help them set that up if they don't have it. And not only can we help them set up those profiles, we will also help them get revolving lines of credit and vendor lines of credit so that they can start building that strength of, you know, or a strong business profile, just like we build our own personal credit profiles.
I think you're right. So many businesses all focus on the revenue and, you know, generating more sales, and yet to grow, it takes capital to grow a business, correct?
Absolutely.
And we're not all the one-size-fits-all kind of business. So talk a little bit about maybe the different options there are in alternative funding, because I think that's important. It's not your local bank is where you're going to get your funding from, right?
Exactly. That is so true. My clients, when they come to me, they typically have already been turned down by the traditional banks.
Right.
And you, being in banking, know that.
I turned down a lot of people, and I hated that. I hated turning down people.
Absolutely, absolutely. So the banks, you know, they'll send their people to me that they can't help, and you know, as you know from being in banking, that the banking industry has a very tight little neat box that you need to fit into.
This is true.
And many small business owners or startups, they just don't have those 2 years of financials yet, or they haven't been in business long enough, or they don't have the credit profiles.
Right.
So there's so many reasons why traditional banks will turn them down. Well, I'm fortunate enough to work with over 2,000 alternative lenders who have much less stringent guidelines. So oftentimes we can get people funded without any personal asset guarantees, without any personal credit or good personal credit scores.
Right.
Now, if they do have assets to back it and they do have decent personal credit, then we can get them a better loan rate. But you know, the point is so many business owners come to me and they're kind of stuck. They're in this stagnant state of, if I don't get funding, I'm closing my doors in 2 months.
Well, that, and they wait till the last minute. I mean, this is the thing about funding. It's like, there's this old analogy in banking that's like, don't go look for funding when you need it.
Correct.
It's that analogy. And then when you need it, you're just like, oh my gosh, it's a vicious circle. Give some insight there, because I think that needs to be part of your business strategy to know when is the right time to go after funding.
Absolutely. And what I can say for startups especially, or somebody who's just been in business a short time, is the best thing to do is get that credit profile started, that Dun & Bradstreet experience in Equifax, because once you have that established and you go out for your funding that you need to grow the business, it's easier to get better funding if you already have that solid business credit profile. Now, that said, we can still get you funded without it.
And the range of, like, when we're talking money, it's like, can you do microloans, like $5,000, $10,000? Can you do $50,000? Because usually those are, I guess, higher risk. I mean, banks don't even want to touch the small stuff. What are maybe some of the options for our business viewers to listen to?
Perfect, great question. And we run the gamut. So we can do microloans as small as $1,000, and we can do multi-million-dollar loans.
Wow.
So it just really depends. And we have a number of different ways to go about qualifying someone. Some of it can be done just on revenue coming in. Others can be funded against equipment that they may have. There's just so many programs out there that people are not aware of.
Can I start calling you the money whisperer? So it's like, do you want to go with that title?
Michelle,
cash whisperer.
I'm sure I've been called much worse.
That's a good one. That's like that will attract people to you, right?
You can absolutely call me that. So,
well, now I want to go to another side, because I know we're limited on time, but that goes in tandem with this is your credit record. So talk about the credit repair piece that, to me, this is important, Karen. There's so many, I'm going to say, sleazy service providers out there for this. I've seen people get taken with that, and I know you're reputable. You and I have talked about this, and so how is it that your services will really help somebody with their credit repair needs?
Absolutely. And for myself, I've been in credit repair for 20 years. Yeah. My director of...
It gives you some homage, let me say.
A little.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
My director of processing has been in credit repair for 30.
Oh,
so
wow.
Combined, we have 50 years of experience behind us. And I will tell you that on the credit repair side, we work with clients that have been through some kind of financial hardship and their credit's been destroyed. So what we do is we go in and we work with the credit bureaus, the collectors, the creditors, to help remove as much derogatory information as possible, which in turn helps increase their FICO scores. Now, in addition to that, we will also help them rebuild if need be. And that's a really important piece, because if most of their credit's been destroyed and we wipe that off the report, they still don't have a lot of good credit or any credit. So we help them rebuild that too. And the combination of us cleaning it up and them rebuilding is really going to drive those scores to their optimum level sooner than later.
Do you find, because I also touch on this, you can't guarantee that things can come off of people's credit record, but there is kind of a system and a process to this? Or how do you look at when you first take on a client and go, well, we can help you, but we don't know? What are the things that are maybe hot buttons that can you not do anything? Can you do something for everybody? I'm really curious.
Pretty much we can do something for everybody.
Wow.
Now, and there is another division which I don't want to get into at this time, but it's called debt settlement. So for some people that may not actually be credit repair clients, they would most likely be debt settlement.
We'll have you back for that. We'll have her back for debt settlement.
That's a whole other subject.
Number two.
Absolutely. But we've been doing this, my partner and I, long enough to know what we can and cannot do. And there are some accounts that are much more difficult than others to remove. Now, that said, there's not a single type of account that we haven't been able to delete.
That's great.
That doesn't mean that we've been able to delete it 100% of the time.
Right.
So when we do the audits on a person's credit, I look at it, and when I do the consultation, we're very transparent. I'm going to give them the good, the bad, and the ugly. and I want to really educate them on what those realistic end results are going to look like, the time frame to get there. You know, we never want to set false expectations for anyone. It does no one any good. So, you know,
people do that, which is what makes you so reputable. Let's be realistic,
which
right?
goes back to those sleazy companies you're talking about. And unfortunately, there are, you know, a lot of companies out there like that, which do make it more challenging for those of us that, you know, are straight above board. For tax liens, judgments, we have a process that we can delete those 100% of the time. Collection accounts, we can normally delete. We run about an 80 to 100% success rate on collections.
Wow, very cool.
And then you've got the more challenging, the foreclosures, the bankruptcies.
Those take time, right?
Yeah, you know, they can be deleted, but I am certainly not going to say that we get them deleted all the time, because we don't.
Okay.
So I go through this, you know, with the client so they know, like I said, realistically, what can be done. And sometimes on those more challenging accounts, there is other options for that. So we can kind of do a combination of the credit repair plus another option.
I think that's so cool. And so the bottom line is, make sure, if you don't know your credit record, know it, right? What would be a tool or a suggestion if people don't know their credit record? Where would you send them to if they need to look that? Because you can do it online, right?
Absolutely. You can go to a free site called annualcreditreport.com, and you're able to pull free credit reports from all three bureaus one time every 12 months with that company.
Just to know.
So you can download them right there online, and that'll give you, you know, your credit record and what's going on. There are also a lot of credit monitoring services out there these days. Most of them are paid services, and you can also, you know, use credit monitoring as well. That'll give you a full overview of all three credit bureaus.
Good advice. Okay, we're at a closure point, but we'll have a link to Karen's website online, so that'll be on there. But I want to thank you for being our leading lady. Thank you to our viewers for listening to Women Lead TV. We will be back again with another amazing female leader, and we'll catch you on the next edition.
Thank you.